And it was all designed for navigators that were going to go off to fly the Vulcan or the Phantom in its ground attack role or the Buccaneer. So they were looking at a radar and using it to get to a target. So I didn't really enjoy that. Then I went back to Jet Provost, and there was this a big, I wouldn't say a weight on your shoulders, but I wouldn't say a sword hanging over you either, but a lot of expectation that you had to do well on the Jet Provost phase. And the rest of the course, I think by that stage there were probably 10 of us. So maybe 5 of us went to the fast jet thing, 4 went to transports, and maybe 1 guy went to helicopters, I think, in the end. But so the 5 of us who were left over, we were all chasing a place on the Phantom or the Buccaneer. And as it happened, I think only 4 of us finished the course, but all 4 of us went to the Phantom in the end. So it was the word I think I'm looking for is competitive. Mm-hmm. Everybody was competing to get to that prime Phantom slot, knowing that if you were bottom of the course, even though you were the fast jet course, the likelihood was that you were going to end up on Vulcans or Shackletons. Not that I'm decrying, being on a Shackleton, but the difference between strapping in the back of a Phantom and going off and doing intercepts to sitting in the back of a Shackleton and controlling intercepts, that could have rested on one trip. One trip you did badly on, and then you go to Shackletons. Plus, I had that peer pressure that my father was a fighter pilot. My brother at that time was, he just finished his first tour on the Phantom, was about to. He was going to be a weapons instructor on the Phantom, so he'd done very well. So there was, I think, in the words of Apollo 13, there was no room for failure. I could not end up on the Vulcan or the Canberra or the Buccaneer. And they had this thing called an AI trainer, which is an air intercept trainer. It was like a dartboard. It was something out of some 1950s sci-fi movie. And there would be a little green phosphorus target that would move down, and you had a proper Phantom radar, and you'd pull it out, and you'd have to operate the radar and find the target and then lock onto it and then work out all the geometry, exactly as you would in an aircraft. But I can remember sitting with this guy called Andy Lambert, and his nickname was Fat Albert, and I could just sort of see his hands going in his head, because clearly the penny had not dropped with me on intercept theory. And it was very, very difficult to understand how a normal radar works with a sort of a cheese wedge shape, but an air defense radar works on a B-scope. So you don't have that cheese wedge shape. So all the targets are in the bottom. You want all the information right on the bottom there. So it's got this expanded bottom scale. And I clearly did not get it. So, you'd see the blip come down. You have this thing called, which sounds amusing now, it's called blip track analysis. And you'd watch the blip come down. You try and work out what the heading was relative to you. So I won't use my aeroplanes just yet, but you would try and work out what it was and then get on the correct trajectory and then make corrections and tell the pilot what to do. And again, I found it very difficult. You were sitting in the back, and you'd say to the guy in the front, come right 20 degrees, make your heading 270. And then as you went into the final turn, to try and adjust the geometry to roll out in missile range or to identify the target, you'd say to him, come right, and that meant you do a 45-degree bank turn, I think, and then you go ease, and you go to 30 degrees, and then go steady, and you roll wings level, and you go harder, and you go to 60, and you go harden, and then you go to 90, and then finally you use this call wrap it up. So he'd go, to a full hard turn and roll out. But they wouldn't help you in the front seat. The staff pilots wouldn't. If you flew with your own pilot, then you occasionally did, but you didn't do that very often.